Hey Survivor, welcome to episode 164 of the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Today we're going to talk about fake female friendships. Say that fast. The damage that they cause internally and externally, and the signs of narcissistic abuse that you may have missed. Been there. But before we dive in, let's self-regulate with a 4-for-8 breathing exercise, if you'd like. And I invite you to get grounded in your seat, wherever that may be, and to even give each of your arms a squeeze, going up and down. Each one, I'm doing my right one now, up, just a good squeeze of the arm. And this is to help you to ground, to calm yourself, and to increase your body awareness. And we'll inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 8. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What do you notice in your body? Grab your notebook and pen, and let's dig in. Hey Survivor, welcome to the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Do you want to disconnect from a narcissistic or toxic situation and heal? Are you Googling how to identify a narcissist, narcissistic abuse, and boundaries? Are you feeling stressed and lonely while trying to avoid being sucked back in and lied to again? Hey, I'm Lesley. As a busy wife and mom, I fell for the lies and manipulations of narcissists. I wasted my time, talents, and money on users who kept moving the goalposts. I wanted real relationships and business opportunities and to enjoy life with my family. Instead, I struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, and insomnia, and I couldn't trust my body or anybody until I took a holistic approach to healing. In this podcast, you'll find tips for healthy living, trauma healing, and boundaries so that you'll have the freedom, confidence, and inner peace to respond, not react, after narcissistic abuse. Take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, and just relax. This time's for you. I had a female friend who felt off to me from the get-go. And it was all the things that we talk about on the podcast and that you know about narcissistic and toxic relationships, where it was like too much too soon. I got kind of reached out to in a very like love bombing, flattering way, drawn into kind of the group thing. And I felt very uncomfortable pretty much from the beginning. And at first it felt kind of cool and welcoming, even exciting, you know, new friends, new group, etc. But got quickly drawn in and just noticed things like there was a lot of gossiping going on, and you know, the need to be the center of the attention, and just a lot of those kinds of dynamics. It was really confusing. There were times when I felt like there were subtle digs being taken, even shrouded as compliments or as humor. And I always kind of felt like on guard, like I couldn't fully let my hair down. Not that I have a lot of hair, but that I couldn't let what hair I did have down. And I didn't have language for what was happening or what I was experiencing. And that is hard, because I think when you don't have that language, it makes it easier to just kind of keep going, go with the flow, stay longer than maybe you should, and tolerate things that really you shouldn't be, or just excusing away, explaining away, and rationalizing toxicity. And that's what ended up happening. Even questioning the fact that you're questioning what you're experiencing. And that happened to me. And just kind of spiraling and spinning about like, okay, well, what's going on? Well, what did I do? Well, why is this happening? And why do I feel like, I'm being attacked? Or why do I feel like I'm being alienated? And I ended up staying longer in the relationship and in the context of the larger group longer than I should have because, well, friendship and this kind of false sense of allegiance to the group as a whole. And I think to the fact that for the most part, with the majority of the people within the larger group, I didn't have any issues. So, but when you're dealing with someone who is toxic and they are in the group and really trying to gain a foothold in the form of control and manipulation and really, controlling the narrative and controlling the dynamics even within the larger group, it can be problematic even trying to cultivate and maintain relationships, let alone real relationships with the other folks. So it wasn't until much later that I realized who and what I was dealing with, and the fact that it wasn't my imagination. There was no conflict really. There was no problem. There wasn't anything that I did. It was just manipulation, and it was toxic. Period. So why does this hurt so much? When you're talking about female friendships, these friendships should be built on trust, sharing, emotional safety, vulnerability. As women, we are really good at sharing our feelings, more so than guys are. So we really get in the weeds with our feelings and bonding over that kind of thing. And narcissistic and toxic individuals tend to exploit intimacy. Now, they can exploit distance too, and I've been there before, but they exploit intimacy. And the betrayal trauma really hits harder when you're dealing with same gender relationships, and to be fair, it hurts when you're dealing with family relationships, but we're talking about specifically about friendships and female friendships at that. But when you're dealing with these same gender relationships, it really is hurtful because there's an emotional bond there, or there should be, or there's the expectation of an emotional bond. And there's a certain degree of expectation for safety and not competition, support as opposed to sabotage. It's like women supporting women. And, that's kind of what we want, what we expect. And also, side note, depending on what phase or stage of your life you're in, there might be a greater need for that kind of support, emotional bonding, safety, etc. At the time when I got drawn into this friend group and this fake friendship with this individual, I was a younger mom. My kids were really little, and I was at that messy phase where they were still young, they still very needy, and I was still nursing. My son was a toddler, my daughter was kind of in that preschool phase, and life can be really messy, busy, hectic, and just overwhelming when you're a mom. And so, to a certain degree, you need those relationships. You need a group of supportive mommies or other women who can really lift you up or provide an outlet, social time, adult conversation. Can you relate? And so that's something else that can come into play when you're talking about fake female friendships, is whatever the need is that you brought into the situation or walked into the situation with, because that's also going to impact your, just your expectations, and also too, your tolerance of, certain dynamics, or maybe even your ability to overlook certain things because of, say, a greater need that's in play. And I experienced this myself. Maybe you can relate. So here are 7 signs that narcissism is at play in fake female friendships. Number 1, there's a competitive support. Like, they'll clap for you, but the clapping sounds very muffled, muted, like it's being done with thick mittens on. It's kind of conditional too, and it's done with like this undercurrent of envy and like kind of a reservation, like just not wanting to really give you those props, or give you that applause or that support. Number 2, and I experienced that myself, because at the time I was also involved heavily in commercial acting and modeling, and it was like I even did a stint in L.A. for 6 months, and there was kind of the pretense of support and encouragement and all of that, but there were definitely undercurrents of envy, and I felt that energy, and you can feel it too. Number 2, information gathering that's disguised as concern, where maybe they ask you questions, but it's not from a place of sincerity or to be helpful or supportive or to share resources, more like gathering intel or collecting ammo, not really coming from a place of caring. And I've experienced this as well. Like when I would go through a hard time, I've had fake friends who have more kind of mined for intel about what I was going through. And sometimes it could be as simple as, say, something to use against you later, or to gossip about, or just along with that to make themselves feel better. Like, okay, she seems like she has it together. She's got all this stuff going for her, but hey, she's got this thing that's like dogging her. So good, there's that. So, she doesn't really have it all together, or, I can feel better because everything's not going smoothly for her. Number 3, triangulation with mutual friends. This is where confusion gets stirred up and conflict behind the scenes, pitting you against other people, drawing comparisons, maybe taking something out of context and using it to frame out some kind of conflict with you and another person, or just making up stuff like, oh, she said this about you, or whatever, that can undermine your ability to cultivate meaningful connections with other people, say within the context of a larger group of friends. And it's so destructive and it's so childish, let's just be honest. But it's a real thing, and this is coming from a place of insecurity and a need to control and manipulate others in order to feel better. Number 4, subtle put-downs masked as humor, where things like "just kidding" becomes a shield for disrespecting you, and it's not okay. It can also be things like just being condescending or disrespecting you with things like, "Oh, you're so silly," or things like that, where maybe you're not getting called out of your name, but just kind of devaluing you or disrespecting and diminishing you and kind of putting you in your place. And that's not okay either. But this can also serve as an outlet for some of the envy, the jealousy, and resentment that comes with maybe not being you, or not having something that you have, or not having things going well in their lives, and they think that you've got everything together, or that things are coming together for you in a way that it's not for them, and a way, again, to feel better and to feel some sense of superiority or one-upmanship. And it's so wrong. Number 5, boundary disrespect. Dismissing, minimizing, or just overriding your limits. And I will tell you that even within the context of a fake friendship or even a greater friend group, this can come in the form of not respecting your right and your freedom to cultivate relationships with others, such as trying to find out, who else you're hanging out with, or maybe making little snide remarks, or maybe trying to infiltrate or crash, say, your plans with someone else, or infiltrate or get intel about your plans with someone else, and making snide comments about that, or condescending remarks about that. Oh, well, you girls go have fun, and where are you all going? What are you girls up to? Like, as though you're not a grown adult who has the right, along with someone else, to go grab lunch or go do something together. But again, this is about control, and this is about jealousy, envy, insecurity. I wasn't invited, so I'm gonna comment on what you're doing with this other person, so that I can feel better about the fact that I wasn't invited, and also to mask my insecurity about what might come up in the conversation while you all are together. Okay? Number 6, victim playing when confronted. Yeah. This is where accountability for their behavior turns into tears, blame shifting, deflection. Yeah. And also, bonus, it can also turn into very lengthy and circular arguments with lots and lots of word salad, all in an effort to dodge accountability or to shirk responsibility for what's really going on, like what they're really feeling, and whatever deeply rooted envy, issues, hurts, slights that are underneath the surface that you're probably not even aware of. And sometimes there isn't even that. It's just you're being you, you're doing your thing, and they can't be you, or they have some kind of unspoken expectation of you, like for you to help them, maybe give them a connection or some kind of hookup or introduction or opportunity. And if you're not coming forth with that, and you don't realize that that's the expectation, and they're too prideful and trying to avoid humbling themselves to actually admit that so that you know what's going on, then you may feel that funky energy of, the resentment, the undercurrents of envy, jealousy, anger, and bitterness, because, you're not fulfilling some expectation that you don't even know about. And then when you confront the behaviors, the outward behavior, you're going to be met with a lot of defensiveness and all the things that I just mentioned, because, that's not really the deeper issue. And there's going to be a hard-lined effort to avoid the discomfort of humbling all the way out to and really revealing to you in a vulnerable way what's behind all of it. So they'll play the perpetual victim. They may share with other people and that you have, slighted them, done them wrong, that you're not being forthcoming or not sharing or not being helpful or supportive, and you have no idea. So something else to be aware of. And then number 7, perception management behind your back. So this is where they'll try to control the narrative while acting innocent in your face, but saying a little something to this person, saying a little something to that person, especially if there's a bigger context of like a friend group where there are other people to talk to that know you or have some kind of interaction with you, that they'll vent to them or drop little messages and plant seeds of doubt or anything like that makes those other people kind of give you the side eye or be hesitant to like engage with you or get closer to you. And it's so sad. And that's why I'm always a big fan of cultivating my own relationships with individuals as opposed to always doing the group thing. And that's kind of how I navigated a lot of those things, even with the individuals that I'm referring to. But I really worked on just cultivating my own individual relationships and kind of trying to sidestep some of the other. But what I learned is it's not always so easy. So sometimes you have to cut your losses. Research shows that relational aggression, like gossiping, exclusion, you can't sit with us, and reputational harm is a common and really damaging form of social abuse. Yeah, especially in female relationships. And it makes sense because that's kind of how we move, we're very relationally based and we're very emotionally driven. And by the way, covert narcissism, which kind of ties in with this, can often present as victimhood, false humility, kind of passive-aggressive control, and then that image or perception management, kind of like I described. So let's talk about how we can lean into healing. L, lifestyle. Try to curate friendships that are reciprocal. What's that? As opposed to draining, right? Peace and clarity is the standard, not poison and chaos. And that is so important. You are like the people that you surround yourself with. And it can be really challenging, especially if you're in a stage of life or you're in a particular place, like maybe you're the new person in town and you don't really know people that well, where you need to kind of get tied in just in order to anchor where you are. And that can make it tricky because it can be easy to tolerate things that and let people into your circle or into your orbit that are not healthy for you. So just want to encourage you to really curate. E, exercise. When you move your body, even if it's for 20 minutes a day, with something that lights you up that you will do consistently, then that will help your body to release betrayal trauma, stress, emotional tension, and your body deserves safety too. So what does that look like for you? Is it a power walk outside where you can get fresh air and sunshine too, and maybe hang with your best friend or, a partner? Is that jumping rope? Is it getting on an elliptical? Is it riding your bike? I got on my bike for the first time this week, and it was so great. I was like, oh my gosh, I've missed out. My husband filled all of our tires, and so I took my bike out for a spin because I figured it'd be faster for me to get like 5 miles in on my bike than to power walk it because it was already getting dark. But man, it was so awesome. Just the breeze in my face, pedaling, challenging myself, going up hills. It felt so good. And, I was feeling the burn too by the time I got home. But definitely make every effort to move your body. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. Just something simple that you can do consistently. Attitude. Try reframing self-blame with pattern recognition. Like, think in terms of you're not being too sensitive. You're being perceptive, especially when it comes to your relationships. And nutrition. Nourishing your body with whole foods and really prioritizing plants, that can help to stabilize your blood sugar, which can help to stabilize your emotions. And you are going to heal better when your body is supported. So any kind of healthy swaps you can do, shopping the perimeter of the store, and doing meal prepping where you plan out some healthy meals and healthy snacks, finding maybe like one particular blogger or a book that you really like where you can do the recipes and try some new things and make a plan, have everything prepared, can really make a difference. I don't know about you, but I like to garden, and I went out in the garden and harvested some cauliflower, and I gave it to my son, and I asked him to make some of his cauliflower wings because he's so good at it. I mean, I've made them before, but my son has demonstrated that he is just on another level with cauliflower wings. So I asked him to make wings with them, and then I chopped up the rest of the cauliflower that was kind of a little bit more spread out and put it in rainbow salad. And then my husband took some greens and harvested those and made some juice, and he harvested some carrots and beets too. It was so good. So got to enjoy and nourish my body with some really healing foods. And the closer that you can eat to the ground, whatever that is for you, if you garden or go to the farmer's market or just, try some new veggies and fruits in the produce section, that's going to help your body overall. So support your body with nourishing foods. Some takeaways for you. You are not imagining the narcissistic abuse from fake female friends. You are not overreacting. You are not being mean for protecting yourself and your health and well-being. You are not responsible for preserving toxic relationship dynamics, whether it's between you and one individual or if it's within the context of a larger group. Because the other thing to keep in mind is that if you are having a difficult time dealing with this individual and there's a larger group in play, there are likely toxic dynamics and toxicity being tolerated within the context of the greater group. And that can be a problem as well, because even if you do cultivate your own relationships with other individuals, they're still being poisoned by the toxic individual. And ultimately, you're responsible for your behavior, emotions, and thinking, and your peace. Remember, fake friends drain, real ones sustain. Thanks for tuning in, Survivor. You are worthy of real friendships. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey, survivor! Are you tired of feeling exhausted, stressed, lonely, and stuck in narcissistic relationships, and you just want closure and healing? I spent years rationalizing toxic relationships and dysfunctional environments in the name of community, connection, and career. As a result, I wasted my time, talents, and money on users who kept moving the goalposts. One of the worst was an alleged murderer who discarded me after I caught him lying, stopped helping him for free, and held my boundaries. Even though I dodged a bullet, I felt depressed, ashamed, and I doubted myself. I want you to know that you don't have to suffer in silence, feel alone, or crazy anymore. Come and experience the power of creating your own closure without the permission or participation of the narcissist. I've been no contact for over 4 years now, and I've grown personally and professionally. I have more clarity, stronger boundaries. I'm building a life and business that I've always wanted and enjoying real relationships. I know you want to break patterns of getting into toxic relationships, even if you don't mean to. And it feels so good to disconnect from dysfunction, set and hold boundaries, provide closure for myself, and focus on self-care, and to empower my kids to do the same. Go to closurecoachingsession.com right now and get ready to heal after narcissistic abuse. If this podcast has helped you understand who and what you're dealing with, sharpen your discernment, and move forward on your healing journey, share it with another survivor. Help me help others by leaving a review for the show. And let's connect on social. Take a screenshot, share it in your IG stories, find and tag me at The Vibrant Survivor, and I'll share your post too. I look forward to connecting with you on IG and seeing you back here. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care, and I'll meet you back here next week. Bye-bye.